Okay, first excuse, mask down. I'm in my room by myself, and I felt this was an important topic, and I really don't want to cover my face for it. So, mental health. In my anatomy class, we spend some time talking about mental health, just as an overview, and then three main topics: anxiety, grief, and depression. Three things that will affect every person in one way, shape, or form, either personally or because it affects someone that you love. And I think it's an important enough topic to take some time out to really discuss it. Okay, so the first topic that we covered was grief, and this video right here was produced by a former student of mine, and the title is March 9th, 2017, which is the day that his mother died. And I have information that he gave me relating to the inspiration for his video, for the lyrics, okay, what it meant to him. So I'm going to read his letter. So I have it over here on this screen, and I'm going to read it saying I, but I don't mean I mean Chris, okay? So here, his introduction. Aw, snap. First of all, I would like to say that I was one of Mrs. Jenkins' worst students, and you should all strive to be the opposite of me. Do your work. I'm talking to the worst kid in here. You know who you are. Anyways, this video that I made was about the grief that I experienced and I'm still experiencing about the death of my mother. Okay. And I'm going to link his video in the description, so please, I encourage you to watch it. It's really powerful. In the first part of the video, he talks about grief having 5 stages and trying to read the Bible, but only getting to 5 pages. And according to Chris, this is my way of expressing the lack of clarity. I quite literally watched my mother pass. Only getting to 5 pages of the Bible is me being frustrated with not understanding exactly what's happening to me. This is basically the denial stage. Everything else in the verse is pretty self-explanatory. The next verse where I talk about anger is also self-explanatory. No amount of metaphors can explain how I felt. Your world will come to a stop, but the rest of the world keeps spinning. The day of my mother's funeral, I woke up, took a shower, went to the funeral, came home, and played my PS4. I thought that my mother's funeral was supposed to be this epic event that ended with a bang, but it really was almost mundane. About a week later, I went back to work. I was on the bus, and that's when it hit me that the world doesn't stop for you. And that sucks. It's almost a crime that the world can make you feel that insignificant, which brings me to the next lyric I would like to break down. You try to rationalize, and that's what happened to mine. And in the back of your mind, it's just a fact that it's life. Having to realize that these types of things just happen sometimes in your life isn't something that I feel anyone should have to go through. Think of a time when something happened to you that was in every way unfair. Even if it's something as simple as your cousin getting a better toy than you at Christmas. That still stings because it's happening to you. You are the main character in your life. Everything that ever happens to you, you have to deal with. It's a different level of frustration when something so unfair can happen. And the only answer you get from it is that life's unfair. Some would even say it's depressing, which makes a great segue to my next point. The depression. Okay, so I didn't eat for 3 days. Let that sink in. I laid in my bed and just sat there thinking a bunch. I'm playing my game because a video game was the only thing that I was in control of. And I finally ate after 3 days. I scarfed down so much food that it was a bit ridiculous. It wasn't until then that I realized that I hadn't been eating food. Then I slept. No motivation for you to work or eat, and you don't want to be awake or go to sleep. In the day, you're in bed wiping tears off your sheets. Go to work, fake a smile, cry, rinse, then repeat. The problem with that type of depression, especially from grief, is that when you're awake, you're dealing with the reality of life and your loss, and when you're asleep, you have nightmares about it. There is no escape from it. And those are very dangerous waters to tread. You have to give yourself a reason to keep on going when you don't feel like you have a reason to. Where do you find the motivation to eat food when your life hasn't given you any? At that specific point in my life, I wasn't living. I was just existing. The last stage is acceptance. I didn't say anything else after this line for a reason. There is nothing else to say. This is truthfully the weirdest part. Accepting that my mother was just gone. The end. Whatever our relationship was up until this point, it just was. No more words will be exchanged between us. She won't see my wedding. She won't meet my kids. She won't hear this song. That's it. Accepting that the equivalent of somebody telling you that you can fly right now, you can fly, goes against everything you've ever been taught. You didn't think that this was possible, but it's your new reality. Now you have to unlearn this fundamental mindset. My mom was gone. Moms are superheroes. They cook your food. They kiss your knee when you scrape it. They beat the crap out of you when you fail classes. You aren't supposed to live a life without them. But I had to. I have to. Didn't know it when I had her, but right now, that's my everything. I quite literally didn't know how much I love my mom until she was gone. That's the worst realization I've ever had in my life. We didn't have the best relationship, truthfully, but the moment she passed, I could only think of good times we had, and it made me understand that I loved my mother intensely. Hell, I even liked her. Your mother is your home, and when you don't have that, you're homeless. From the very moment you were birthed into this world, you are connected to your mom, physically and metaphorically. Every time I said to myself, I want to go home, I thought about wherever my mom lived. The very second she passed, I felt like I didn't have a home to go to. I felt homeless. Where am I going to go for Christmas? Where am I going to send my kids when I'm tired of them? Where am I going to go when I just want to clear my mind and reset my brain? That's your home. Home is where you go to feel safe, secure, nostalgic. I didn't live with my mom at the time, but home is always home. Now home has been taken away from me. Now what? Don't wait for the casket to give your roses. Go hug y'all mothers today, damn it. And I mean today. Thank her. Just do it while they're there. You don't want to give her flowers in a casket when you can give her flowers in her warm, live hands. Death is just a disease. Death is just a release. Dealing with the deceased have you questioning your beliefs. Heaven just a manipulation to keep you relaxed. Well, shit, how about I pray to get her back? Okay, quite a bit to unpack here. I'm not sure what any of you guys' religious backgrounds are. I was raised in a Christian church. They teach you that when you die, you go to heaven. They teach you God is all powerful and she can do anything. Grief will make you question everything you've ever been taught. In this verse, I was frustrated enough to challenge God. I felt that all the teachings about heaven was just a tactic used in churches to make people docile. You're taught to pray to God to get your problems fixed. It's just used to keep you in check. And I felt that if God in heaven were real, then I should be able to pray to get my mother back, right? Right? Now, whatever you guys believe is what you believe in. And I don't know what religion in school, I know that religion in school is a little bit taboo, but level with me for a second. If I was taught all my life that God is the most powerful being that ever existed and ever will exist, that God can literally do anything at his will, imagine how powerful grief must be to make me challenge, or dare I say, defy that. Think about that for a little bit. Don't ask me if there's anything that you can do because you won't. Don't tell me that you know because what I'm going through because you don't. One of my biggest pet peeves when people would say to me, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. I never really felt like people meant that. If I needed people to pay my rent for 2 months, I highly doubt they will. And that's selfish of me. But like I stated earlier, I'm the main character in my story. I also hate when people tell me that they know what I'm going through because you aren't the main character of my story. So there's no way you can know what this feels like. You may know what it's like for you to lose your mother, but you can't know what it's like for me to lose my mother. Who can tell me that I'm worthy or tell me to wash my dishes? As often as your moms may tell you to wash your clothes and clean your room, and it may get on your nerves, I can promise you'll take hearing that every day over nothing at all. I lost my mom, but it killed me too. That's pretty self-explanatory, but I did want to call attention to it. After crying so much and being so sad all the time, I just felt nothing. Even physically, I felt nothing. It's almost like my brain shut down emotions so that I can still function in society enough to get through this grieving process. Leave me alone, but help me. Leave me alone, but help me, but leave me alone. Leave me alone, but help me, but leave me alone. But help me, but leave me alone. Do you see the paradox here? I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to talk to anyone or even look at people, but I could not stand being alone. Imagine trying to explain to someone that you want them to help you get through this grieving process, but you also want them to leave you alone at the same time. It's a paradox, but that's how I felt. Grief isn't fun. It's not cute, nor is it something I would wish on anyone, but it's real and it's necessary to go through because the other side of grief is a better person. You learn to appreciate life and appreciate people while they're here. You realize that every day is a miracle, and now you can be happy for the little things as well as the bigger things. I hope you all learned something from this. I wish I could be there, but COVID takes the fun out of everything. Hug your mothers. Seriously. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Chris, I just wanted to say thank you for being so raw, so open, so honest, and so willing to share those emotions. Again, this video will be linked in the description. That's it.